Hello everyone and welcome to another Singerreise video podcast. My name is Jonathan Silvia and I'm your host. Thanks for joining us. For this video, I have another Singerreise book review. I went back and reread Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit. This book has done a lot to shape how I think about, most everything really. It is a book that encourages us and even demands that we become better people. So this fits into the personal development side of Singerreise. Both times that I read the book, I read it as an audiobook, which is my preferred way of reading books. This allows me to do exercising or do house chores while I'm reading. In this case, the book was not performed by the author, it was performed by Mark Chamberlain, who does a great job. And incidentally, that would be a job that I wouldn't mind exploring myself sometime. The Power of Habit obviously talks about habits. Charles Duhigg includes a lot of the latest research from the last few decades. He includes a lot of hard science and meticulous research, but it actually doesn't read like an academic article from a science journal. Instead, he takes more of a storytelling approach. There's probably about a dozen different stories in there that he kind of weaves into the book, forming a sort of narrative as you read all the way through it. This makes it a really easy book for anyone to pick up and immediately start applying, even with the hard science that's in there. He starts by describing what he calls the habit loop, which briefly is cue, routine, reward. Each of these parts he discusses in a lot of really good detail, again using stories. But he even gets into what is going on in the brain and what parts of the brain it's connected to. Now, had he just stopped there talking about habits, this would have been a pretty good book. But the real value of this book is that he takes this knowledge about habits and then starts to apply it to, just about everything in life. He starts on a personal level, talking about changing habits within one individual. And for those that are interested in personal development, these are the sections that have the most immediate application. A few key points from here. Charles Duhigg contends that when a habit is formed, it forms a permanent impression on the brain. And this is an older part of the brain, evolutionary speaking. Doing this allows the brain to conserve its energy for more higher-powered, complex thinking sorts of tasks. But it also means that the only way to correct a bad habit is to overwrite it with a new habit. So going back to the habit loop of cue, routine, reward, the way to do habit replacement is to keep the cue and the reward, but to change the routine. Now, this is of course easier said than done, but fortunately for us, Charles Duhigg explores all of the issues around this. For example, cravings are a huge part of cues, and thus how habits are developed. But once you're able to identify the craving and what exactly the cue is, choosing what happens as a result of that cue becomes a lot easier. There are also these things called Keystone habits, which I found really interesting. These are habits which are so important to an individual that when they are changed, it causes a cascading effect and a whole bunch of other habits get changed along with it. Changing a habit within a community, for example the way that AA does it, also wound up being really important. The biggest benefit that we get here is that when a crisis occurs and challenges the new habit that you are trying to develop, it gives you examples all around you of people having persisted in the face of crisis. It gives you this magical but still quantifiable power called belief that things can actually change. Another fascinating subject was the concept of limited willpower. He brings up this study that was done with college students, where some of them sat in a room with radishes and then tried to take a test that could not be solved, and then other ones had to sit in a room with freshly baked chocolate chip cookies, told not to eat the cookies, and then had to take the same unsolvable test. Well, those who had sat in the room with the cookies had used up all of their willpower, and they persisted less long trying to take the test. So sometimes it seems like willpower is this exhaustible resource, but it also has a lot of traits like a skill. And like a skill, willpower can be exercised and increased. Exercising willpower over a lifetime leads to discipline. But for those of us who are already pretty well along and haven't developed discipline, I include myself in this group, well, the brain is a very malleable thing, so there's hope for us too. By this point in the book, however, Charles Duhigg has already moved from habits on a personal level to talking about habits in an organizational level, like a business or a nonprofit. For example, talking about advertising or the culture of a business. From business, he moves on to talking about habits on a societal level, so like the entire US. And from there, he talks about the moral implications of habits, like whether or not we can be found morally accountable for what our actions are. Even in these sections, however, he's telling fascinating stories, some of them about companies and people that we have heard of, like Martin Luther King Jr. or Target or Febreze. And sometimes he's telling stories about not so famous people, but still people that are very interesting and that we might even find relatable. So there's always this connection back to the personal, individual level. And that's why I really love this book. No matter what the subject is, it seems I'm always learning something about myself as I read it. It's really engaging and it's really fascinating from cover to cover. And yes, that includes the appendices, especially the appendix on the how-to of habit replacement, where he uses himself as an example. So check out The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg. I definitely recommend this book. It will change the way that you perform, work, teach, and learn, and how you approach every day. If you want to find out more about the life of a working opera singer, check out our official website, Singerreise.com. There you'll find articles and resources and links useful for talking about singing or about being a singer. You'll also find a link to where you can buy The Power of Habit. You can also check us out at facebook.com/Singerreise. Give us a like there and offer your comments and share what we post. You're also now watching the Singerreise YouTube channel. There's over 24 other episodes out there waiting to be watched. There's also patreon.com/Singerreise, where for just $1 or so every month, you can become a patron of Singerreise and help fund the creation of more of these videos. Now, in the next Singerreise video podcast, I'll be talking a lot more about Patreon. So it's very important, very critical that you come back and watch the next episode. I'll also be announcing another new, very fun project in that episode. So make sure to stay tuned. And thanks for watching.